Hello, I'm Kendra Ruth, and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm going to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind spouse. Her bomb drop was May of 2020, and her date of marriage is 1990. She has a vanisher who is a high energy replayer. She says, my husband has used cannabis since he was 15. He turns 60 in 2 weeks. In the last 5 years, he started to use cannabis daily. And with legalization, it just got worse. Health issues as a man had him full-blown MLC. And he took off with a friend of ours to become her living donor due to her destroying her liver from her lifestyle. He saved her life, and he leapt into that ego boost role at the expense of his entire family. This totally blindsided us, since I thought we meant the world to him. I keep hoping he'll come home, but knowing his pride and shame, I fear he'll never be able to face me and do the work and boundaries needed. It's been no contact except for very occasional text messages about finances. Am I a fool for even considering giving him grace forever? Such a betrayal. I'm very afraid of losing my kids if I do that. They're 29 and 34. He left right after the birth of our first grandchild. My daughter can't get past that fact. That baby is now 2. Okay, so let's start out with some questions, because I'm not exactly sure about the context of this situation. We have a friend who needed a liver transplant, and it sounds to me like he was the donor. And that gave him an ego boost. He got to be her superhero. Is that friend the alienator? And is she the alienator because of being the victim, and this is the real kind of victim, or the patient, or is she an alienator because within that there became an affair, whether emotional or physical? Because I'm not exactly sure what the betrayal is. I'm guessing he saved her life at the ego boost role at the expense of his family. Was the initial betrayal that he was risking his life by giving his liver, and that a dangerous medical procedure? Or was it what he did with that and becoming her hero and then dropping out and abandoning the rest of you? Because obviously that's a betrayal, the abandonment. But I wasn't sure if just the act of him being the donor was also that, or is it what being a donor did to him, and what the super monster it created? Because you haven't said that there's an affair, but there can be an alienating force that is not a sexual infidelity or any kind of romantic liaison. And that could be what's going on. And is the alienating force something within him that he's projecting onto the woman that he donated the liver to? Or is she alienating as an alienating force? She being more active in that? And I don't know, but that's where my confusions are a little bit. Next, are you a fool for giving him grace? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means, because I think what you really mean is, am I a fool for considering forgiving him? Forgiving him grace isn't the same as forgiveness. Those are 2 different things. They are 2 of the 3 unconditionals. And those things that I call unconditionals are grace, agape, and forgiveness. And what it means to be unconditional is it means they are not deserved. So the person that is receiving them doesn't have to do anything to earn them. They don't deserve them at all, maybe. You can have a person receive or be gifted forgiveness after their death, and they don't care that they committed acts of atrocity against you. Because forgiveness means that you are releasing the energy, the negative energy that is holding you captive in that situation. So if you're asking about forgiveness, are you a fool for it? Forgiveness is not reconciliation. It doesn't mean that, and by reconciliation, that doesn't have to mean reconciliation to a former marital relationship. It could just mean reconciliation by allowing this person to be back inside your circle of influence and your friends and family, and that you have contact with them on a cordial manner as though they're friends with you, rather than you speak because he owes you alimony, that sort of thing. You say your daughter you might lose your children and so that might be if you just forget that you reconciled to marriage. That might happen if you reconcile to friendship. And first thing I'm going to tell you right now, there needs to be some boundaries with your children, and that's because it's your business, but I understand your dilemma as well. So it's forgiveness, though, and grace. You don't have to invite anybody back into your life to forgive them. So I personally always recommend forgiveness. Forgiveness, I want to say it's a requirement, but it's a choice. So if you don't do it, it's not going to hurt me, and it's probably not going to hurt him. It's going to hurt you. Because it means that you're holding on to the pain, holding on to the anger. And it's a process to release those things. When you release those things, it frees you. It doesn't mean you're not mad at them. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean they're pardoned. They're welcomed back into your life. It doesn't mean you trust them. Trust, absolutely not an unconditional. Trust is something that must be earned. But forgiveness, yeah, it's a gift we give. Now, grace is the same type of thing. It is a gift we give. Grace, to me, my idea of grace is that it's a mirror. When we see ourselves in others and we recognize our shared unity. And I like to say unity rather than humanity because I want to have grace for all beings in the universe, all forms of life and existence. Grace is recognizing that we are shared. We are shared in our flaws and in our imperfections and in our successes and our beauties. That none of us is perfect, so we can, because of that, have some grace to forgive. Have some understanding of, well, I can see how you made that mistake. We look at others and we see ourselves. And then by seeing and recognizing ourselves, that gives us insight into ourselves, and it gives us compassion and empathy for the others as well as for ourselves. So that's why those things are unconditional. It's because of what they do for us. And then when they do that gift for us, it lightens us for the rest of the world. It opens us up to receptivity to more of the same, more forgiveness, more love being agape, more forgiveness, more acceptance and understanding. It opens us up to compassion and empathy. And that's why these are so important. If we instead withhold grace and withhold forgiveness, that's the problem we have, where we see us and them. We're more likely to demonize. We separate them and dehumanize one group against another so that we can justify the hatred and sins against that group because they're not like us. They don't have this shared unity. So we don't have to have compassion and this empathy for them. And that's a problem. That hurts us and it hurts them. It hurts society. It hurts our universe. So when it comes to grace, look at your husband or the idea of him. He's not in front of you, and have compassion. Look at him and say, I'm so sorry that you have felt this. I recognize the human in you, and that, I've made mistakes too. Maybe not as great. Maybe not. But none of us are perfect. As a Lutheran, we say that we are both saint and sinner. And we are. It means we're not perfect, but we are imperfectly made. We're still beautiful. So I want you to work on forgetting right now about whether you want to reconcile or not. That might be what you want, and you're concerned about your daughter. But right now, just focus on dissipating and releasing the negative energies from that. I hope this was helpful, and I will see everybody in the next question.